In the quiet early mornings of America, when the sun had not yet fully risen and the world still held its breath, there were women walking into a place that did not expect them to change history. They carried notebooks instead of spotlights and courage instead of recognition, and while rockets waited on launch pads and headlines prepared to celebrate heroes, these women sat at desks calculating futures that no one could yet imagine. America in the 1960s was dreaming big, dreaming of the sky, dreaming of the moon, dreaming of proving itself to the world, but inside that dream there were walls built from fear and prejudice and silence, and behind those walls were brilliant minds that history almost forgot. These women were black, they were mathematicians, they were human computers, and their story is not only about space, it is about bravery in its quietest form. Katherine Johnson was one of those women, a young girl once who counted everything around her, steps on the road, stars in the sky, questions in her mind. Numbers spoke to her as clearly as music speaks to others, and from a very early age she understood something powerful, that the world might try to limit her, but numbers would not lie to her and knowledge would not abandon her. She grew up in a country that told her where she could sit, where she could walk, where she could work, yet her mind moved freely beyond those limits. When she entered NASA, she entered a space where brilliance was needed but not always welcomed, where her skin color and her gender made her invisible to many, and yet the universe itself did not care about any of that, it only cared about precision. Every calculation she touched carried the weight of human life. Astronauts trusted her work without ever fully knowing the obstacles she faced. Every single day she walked past signs that told her she did not belong, and still she sat down and solved equations that would decide whether a man returned home alive. When computers arrived and fear spread through the room, many believed the machines would replace the women who had calculated everything by hand, but Dorothy Vaughan saw something others did not. She saw opportunity hidden inside uncertainty. She taught herself programming, she taught others, she made sure that when the future arrived she and her people would already be standing inside it. Dorothy did not raise her voice, she raised others. She understood that leadership was not about being seen, but about lifting those around you. She knew that knowledge shared was power multiplied, and through her determination she ensured that women who were once considered replaceable became essential. Mary Jackson dreamed of becoming an engineer, but the system stood in her way. She needed approval to attend classes in a school that did not want her there, so she went to court. She spoke calmly, clearly, bravely, and she won, not because the system was kind, but because her resolve was stronger than its resistance. Every day these women walked into a building that benefited from their intelligence. While denying their equality, they solved problems that had never been solved before, while being told in silent ways that they should be grateful just to be present, and yet they persisted, not with bitterness but with excellence. The space race moved forward, fueled by calculations written on chalkboards by hands that history did not rush to applaud. Rockets launched and returned safely because someone had checked the numbers again and again, because someone cared deeply about getting it right. When John Glenn prepared to orbit Earth, he refused to trust the computer alone. He asked for Katherine by name. He wanted her to verify the numbers, because trust is earned, and she had earned it through precision, dedication, and unwavering confidence in her work. As America celebrated its victories, few knew the full story. Few knew that behind every successful mission were women whose brilliance had been quietly shaping the future. They were not seeking fame, they were seeking truth, accuracy, and progress. Their bravery was not loud, it did not demand attention, it showed up every day in a world that resisted change, and yet change happened because they were there, because they refused to step aside, because they believed that their work mattered even when recognition did not follow. Years later the world would finally begin to listen. Films would be made, books would be written, and names would be spoken aloud, names that had once lived only in office corridors in memory. But the impact of these women had always been there, written into the trajectory of every mission and every dream that reached beyond Earth. This is a story about more than space. It is about what happens when courage meets opportunity, when intelligence refuses to be silenced, when women stand firm in their worth even when the world does not acknowledge it. It is about young girls who look at the stars today and believe they can belong there because someone before them already did the work. Someone already proved that barriers can be calculated, challenged, and overcome. Hidden does not mean absent, unseen does not mean unimportant, and these women were never truly hidden. They were simply ahead of a world that needed time to catch up. Their legacy lives on in every satellite, every mission, every child who believes that their mind is powerful regardless of how the world tries to define them. And as we look back at the moon, we must also look back at the women who helped us reach it, not for glory but for truth, not for applause but for progress. This is the story of bravery written in numbers, courage written in quiet determination, and history rewritten by women who refuse to stay invisible. And as the stars continue to shine over America and over the world, their story continues, reminding us that the greatest journeys are not only measured in miles but in moments of strength, perseverance, and belief in something greater than fear. Their names are no longer hidden, and their courage will never fade.